Specialist. Today I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking to you about why designers should be left brain and right brain people. I think there's a lot of stereotypes out there. A lot of times we can pigeonhole ourselves, or we may feel that we need to be more of this or more of that. And in this video I want to explain to you that there's certain kind of activities in the way we spend our time that can really help us be people that are both left-brained and right-brained people. So my name is Ken and you're watching Mastering UX. But a designer should have a lot of different kind of tools in the toolbox that allow that person to be able to think at both levels. And so what is the left side and the right side of our brain? Well, the left side of our brain is the side that I think most of society is operating a lot in. It's a side that's very objective, it's analytical, it tends to be into the parts rather than the whole. It tends to how things are related to one another. So the right side of our brain, this is the side that's more creative, it's intuitive. This is the side that can be emotional. This is the side of our brain that can also be very much involved in the spatial kind of visual realm of things. And a lot of things in the right side of our brain tend not to be absolutely wrong or right. They tend to be things that are a little bit harder to judge. Well, I think in some sense, this is a gift for designers that most people, or I should say a lot of people, aren't very good in this realm of just having this kind of intuitive nature of knowing how to create a certain kind of visual that really resonates and you just know that it's the right emotion, it's the right feeling. Well, as designers, we have to be those who design with purpose, intent, with something that's very deliberate. Everything in design, there's a reason for it. It's not merely to tell stories, which there's nothing wrong with storytelling, and I would say even storytelling is an element of design. But design usually has some kind of goal that it's trying to reach. And over the years, we've used this term user experience, and this has brought objectivity into design. We're more concerned with, instead of how the designer feels or the stakeholders have an opinion about what they're looking at. Over the years, I think it's a very good thing that we've learned to turn things over and find out how do the users think, how do the users feel, and we're able to test our designs and find out if we're really hitting the mark on these kind of things. And so designers need to be those kind of people who can be ones who can embrace the objective things, spend time doing research and understanding who the end user is going to be, and also be people who can go back and come up with some kind of solution that really needed some kind of gut feel, some intuitive, something that thinks more holistically. Kind of hard to put your finger on whether it's right or whether it's wrong, but you kind of know it's right when you see it. How can we incorporate both sides of our brain? Well, I agree, and to some degree, we're kind of born leaning one way or the other. We may be kind of oriented to being a lot more objective, and we may be oriented around being a lot more creative and intuitive and emotional. But I would say every human being definitely is a combination of both aspects. And so what matters is that we spend the right amount of activity and the right amount of our time really exploring both sides. And I would say every aspect of your design can really have something that's both objective and something that is very intuitive and emotional. Let me give you an example. You have colors on a page. Those colors are definitely something that evoke emotions, and sometimes you can read psychology books about what each emotion means, but when you put them into a different combination in different proportions, it still takes someone who's very intuitive that can make sense of all of that. Another example is you may have design elements such as everything is round and things are centered and things are feeling very open. And, on one level, you may feel that because this is modern, it's simplistic, it has a certain kind of feeling of easy to use. And a lot of these things, as you're working with it, you're choosing certain kind of fonts is in the realm, again, of something that's very intuitive. But On the other hand, you might come back and look at, your competitors and what kind of styles they're going with, and is it right for you even to be trying to achieve something that is not sophisticated versus simplistic? You have to be able to exercise both sides of your brain, and you really want to be open and unbiased and be willing to change your mind about what kind of design approach you're taking. And so the best way to do this is to do UX research. So when you're doing research, you're really going to want to be exercised to be unbiased and objective in all the things that you're doing. And so there's there's these both sides that we can approach the same kind of element of your design. By the time you get to sort of a more final state of your design where you're starting to feel that you're 80% there, you're able to show this to the business and you're able to present this design to your colleagues, you should get to a point where everything in your design is rational. You should be able to explain rounded corners, why they're rounded, why you have a lot of space or don't have a lot of space, why the hierarchy is a certain way on the page, why the colors are on that page. For example, colors, yes, they are very emotional, but you can have a very rational things that how much you want to be tied into the brand, or the reason why you chose for this design to look vibrant, or why you want it to be subdued. There's some very rational things and points and of why you chose the colors you chose. And so hopefully by the time you get to this point, you're able to discuss your design on what are the rational outcomes that we want to get out of this design, rather than kind of having opinions about how this should feel, and maybe you feel this way and I don't feel this kind of way type of thing. Rather, keep the discussion a little bit more focused in on what are the objective things that this design needs to achieve. So those are just some points. So I just want to leave you off with, don't ever feel that you are one or the other. These are both skills that you can exercise at different times, at different points in the project. Realize that there's some things that you're going to be better at. You may be a lot more intuitive of a person. I've known some designers that, man, their designs are, to me, they're just delicious. They look gorgeous. They just, the designer just has this kind of intuition to know how to make something feel just right for whatever you're trying to go after. And you might also have a skill in being very rational. You might gravitate towards the research side of things. And that's okay. But, we really should always aspire to kind of exercise both sides of our brain. And I think this is one of the things that's exciting about design. You're not pigeonholed into doing things one way, but you're able to kind of explore and branch out and kind of have moments where you're, in one mode, and then kind of break it up and be able to kind of get into a very intuitive mode. So I just wanted to leave you off with this. I hope these are some points that you can walk away with. If you like this video, leave a comment below and tell me what you kind of saw or what was kind of new to you. And you can also like or subscribe on this video. So if you stuck it all the way to the end of this video, I really want to thank you, and I'll see you on the next episode.